Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic to see so many people turning out tonight. Thank you very much. Colin Fox is the leader of the Scottish Socialist Party. He sits on the Yes Scotland Advisory Board. The SSP, the SNP and the Green Party set up Yes Scotland. Colin was an SSP MSP for the Lothians from 2003 to 2007, and I had the great pleasure of being his boss for the 4 years. Over to Colin.
Thanks very much, Lorna. Can I just say, did NDC report in Scotland last night? Did NDC report in Scotland at 6:47? Did NDC Lorna Bet on the television last night? Look how Jackie Beard, that's what I say. Lorna's on her way. Got to be an improvement. Jackie Beard, no, Jackie Bird, is it? Jackie Beard, Jackie Bird. I watch it. I don't watch it unless Lorna's on. I wanted to say thanks very much to Lorna for that introduction, and thanks very much to Yes Benarty for inviting me. And above all, thanks very much to all of you for coming, because I think it's a fantastic turnout. It's a Friday night, and I do lots of meetings on a Friday night, and I tend to say to people, have you any pubs to go to? But the truth of the matter is, there's meetings like this one, 100 people here, taking place every night of the week, all the length and breadth of Scotland. And I know I look like a young guy, but I remember the anti-poll tax campaign. Hands up, MD who remembers the anti-poll tax campaign. Well, do you know what they're now saying about Yes Scotland? It's the biggest political grassroots campaign Scotland has seen since you were involved in the anti-poll tax campaign. And personally, I think that's a good comparison, because the anti-poll tax campaign won a famous victory, and we're going to win a famous victory against very considerable odds indeed. So I thank you all for coming, and I look forward to your questions. I wanted to just say one thing. This is my second time in the Benarty Centre. I was here, I think, less than a year ago, interviewing Wally for a project I was working on, looking at the leadership qualities of post-war Scottish trade union figures like the Moffat brothers, like Lawrence Daly. We're talking about Willie Gallagher and his time as the famous Communist MP for this constituency between 1935 and 50. And this is one of my favourite parts of Scotland, because I love all that. I love learning about working class history, because they don't tell you that in Report in Scotland. I love coming to communities like this and learning from people like Wally what I've inherited, what you've inherited, our history, what our grandparents did, what our great-grandparents did, what our mums and dads did to make sure we've got the quality of life that we've got. And of course, as Wally and Diane have made clear, the truth is, the things we won in the past have been taken off of us. And I look to my granny and granda, to my mum and dad, and you look to your mum and dad and your granny and granda, that they don't take off of us what they fought hard to gain. You've got to promise yourself that you'll stand up for your rights and your dignity at work and your community in the same way your mum and dad and your grandparents did in this community. And that, to be honest with you, of the things I'll say tonight, people often say to me, what's this independence debate about? Well, it's about that. It's about standing up for ourselves. It's not allowing people to walk out of the utopias, and making sure that the proud traditions that have been handed to us, that we continue, so that we're going to fight as hard for our lives and for our kids and our grandparents as previous generations did before. And I thought I would start with that point, because the truth is, for the socialist movement, for working class people like us, today's a sad day. We lost one of our dearest comrades and friends today in Tony Benn, who died aged 88. A proud, honourable, maybe some people would say the heart of the socialist movement in these isles. And it's a sad day. And I hope you remember. I'll remember where I was the day that Tony Benn passed away. And I think it's fitting to say that I'll remember being with you at a political meeting determining the future of this country on the day that Tony Benn died. And I have to say, I had the great honour of meeting him a few times, shared platforms with him, and I have to say, wherever he is just now, he'll be looking down on you and patting you in the back, because it's a struggle that continues, and it's what he'd want you to be doing, to stand up for the same ideas that he stood for and continue. So today is a very important day. This is a very important meeting, and the vote on the 18th of September is a very, very important vote. Make no bones about it. The 18th of September, you've got the chance of a lifetime. A lifetime. You've got the chance of a lifetime to change your life, change this country, change the British Isles, and change the world for the better forever. So no pressure, eh? The 18th of September is really important, and I say to you, the Scottish Socialist Party, I sit in the Yes Scotland Advisory Board, as Lorna has mentioned. I'm the leader of the Scottish Socialist Party, and people can say to me, Colin, why come you support independence? And I look them straight in the eye and I say, because working class people like us will be better off. That's why. That's the question you've answered. That's the answer to your question. We'll be better off, working class people like us that make up the overwhelming majority of us in Scotland, 5.2 million, overwhelmingly, we're working class. And we'll be better off economically, we'll be better off socially, we'll be better off politically. And that's why increasing numbers of people across the whole length and breadth of the country are realising working class people have a great deal to gain for independence, and that's why they're supporting it. And you know, Wally's quite right, and Diane have touched on it. At the heart of this debate, it said, look, Scotland's a diddy wee country, we're an economic basket case, we can't stand up on our own 2 feet, we can't look after ourselves, we can't look after the range, we can't look after the pensioners, we can't look after the unemployed. And yet what happened this week? The OECD, the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, looks across the whole world. Scotland, 14th richest country in the world. The Financial Times again says independent Scotland is one of the richest countries in the world. So somewhere along the line, somebody's no telling the truth, are they? And I know who I believe, and I know who's no telling the truth. Because the fact is, Scotland, if we're independent, will be one of the richest countries in the world. And like the rich countries in the world, when you look at the economy of rich countries in the world, they tend not to be dependent on one thing alone. They're diverse, their economy's diverse. It's got very many wealthy parts to it. And Scotland's exactly the same. We've got oil and gas. And by the way, I have to say, the debates I have from time to time with the No campaign, and I say from time to time because they hardly ever turn up, but when they do, they'll say, oil, honest to God, it's going to run out in 5 minutes, it's no worth threepence. And the fact of the matter is, remind yourself that 95% of the countries of the world would give their eye teeth for Scotland's oil. They give their eye teeth for it because they've no got it. They reckon there's £2 trillion worth of oil still in the North Sea that they've no brought out. And we're one of the richest countries in the world, not just because we've got oil and gas. But you know, I was coming along driving up to Edinburgh, Kilkelly, wind turbines everywhere, aren't they? Scotland now produces a third of all its electricity. That electricity produced by wind farms, hydro schemes. We produce a third of our electricity through renewable energy now. We've got a financial services sector, one of the richest in the world. We've got whisky. Has anybody been paying attention to the amount of whisky that the Indians and the Chinese and the Brazilians and the Russians are drinking? Like it's going out of fashion. Very wealthy. A wealthy construction industry, a wealthy agriculture industry, wealthy fishery industries, life sciences, tourism. And the wealthiest thing of all, you. You're the wealthiest. Wealthier than all the oil, because Scotland's really fortunate. We've got an educated, skilled population that can turn its hand to things. 20 years ago there wasn't any renewable industry. Now it's men and women in Scotland who provide that electricity. So our greatest asset is our people. Educated, skilled, know what we're doing. And I have to say to you, bear that in mind, because the other side would put it to you that Scotland's some economic basket case. And we're we potentially could be one of the wealthiest countries in the world. And you should remember that. And learn these facts and figures and put it to Gordon Brown when he allegedly starts touring the country. And folk going, who's he again? Don't remember who he was. You put it to them and you remind them that we're one of the richest countries in the world and they shouldn't be allowed to talk it down and pretend it was some economic basket case. But for me as a socialist, of course that's only half the question, isn't it? It's only half the question that we could be a wealthy country. Because the fact is, as working class people, we see the wealth of Scotland and Britain. all around us. But it never comes to Lochore, does it? Never comes to Motherwell. Doesn't come to South Edinburgh or last time. So it's not just a question that Scotland's a wealthy country. It's ensuring that that wealth is spread out to them that need it the most. And Diane is absolutely, well, they're absolutely right. When that wealth gets spread out, shared out, in a way that it's never been before, then they kids, 1 in 3 of them in Scotland, they're first in line. The 1 in 3 households in Scotland that don't have enough money to pay their gas and electric bills, they're first in line. They folk that are going the 12 mile to Dunfermline to the food banks, the Lenten bread to Scotland, they're first in line. Who would ever have thought, when your granny and grandad told you about the hungry 30s and folks down in the street corners and going to soup kitchens, who'd ever have thought you'd have seen that today? Well, the fact of the matter is, food banks are soup kitchens. Folk will go nothing, they can't feed themselves. They're going up to Dunfermline or Edinburgh, Glasgow, and they're getting packets of pasta, packets of rice, a tin of tomato soup, a packet of semolina, and they come back in a fortnight later because they need some more. This is Scotland, one of the richest countries in the world, the 21st century, and there's folk going hungry. 1,000 food banks now in Scotland, and that's totally unacceptable. And the fact of the matter is, it stands to reason if all that extra wealth in Scotland, all the taxes that you pay, thank you, all the income tax you pay, all the national insurance you pay, all the duty you pay in your petrol, all the duty you pay in your drink, all the duty you pay in your cigarettes, instead of all that being siphoned off and going to the Treasury in London, if that stayed here, along with all the profits the corporations made, then it stands to reason we're better off. We could eradicate child poverty. They've done it in Scandinavia. The trouble with child poverty is man-made. It's not created by God. It's not some scientific thing you can't counter. It's man-made. Fuel poverty is man-made. People going hungry is man-made. It's got to be changed. And independence affords us the wherewithal to change it. And I have to say to you, the Yes Scotland campaign isn't just made up of the Scottish Socialist Party, is it? It's made up of the Scottish National Party, it's made up of the Greens, made up of lots of people. And what I'm proud to say is that the agenda I've just put in front of you is shared by us all. There is understanding that we've got to get rid of child poverty. It brings a great shame on our nation's reputation. Pensioners cold in the winter, that's no on in the independent Scotland we're trying to build. People going hungry, that's no on either. It shouldn't be the case, and we're going to address it. You know, the fact that people have got a chronic shortage of affordable housing in Scotland. You look at kids that can't grow up where their mum and dads lived before. They've got to move somewhere else. There is a chronic shortage of affordable housing. All these things have got to be addressed, and they're at the centre of the Yes message is all about. So we have extra money, and that's how we're going to spend it. We're not going to give it to the bankers. We're not going to give it to another generation of trident nuclear weapons. We're not going to give it to them who've already got plenty. We're going to give it to them who need to be taken care of, so in an independent Scotland, nobody gets left behind. Nobody. And that's the way it should be, because that's the social democratic Scotland that we want to build. And as Willie and Diane have mentioned, politically, if you think of the consequences of this, an independent Scotland means there's no more Tory governments. There's no more bedroom tax. There's no more poll tax. There's no more hounding disabled people by ATOS. There's no more scapegoating immigrants or claimants for crimes committed by bankers. The greatest miscarriage of justice of our time. The bankers who bankrupted the country get to walk away scot-free with their big bonuses, and yet working class people in communities like yours are hammered over the head by cuts in their services, a tax on their benefit, a tax on their wages, paltry conditions, 0 hours contracts, underemployment for a crime created by the bankers. What's going on? And the fact of the matter is, this debate, we're voting yes for independence, and we're voting to reject that. That's what this debate's about. That's how it's as serious as it is. And I say to you, I want to make one thing clear about, as a socialist, well, he's a socialist, other communist socialists will say, be clear about one thing. Supporting Scotland's right to self-determination, the democratic right to self-determination for Scotland, doesn't make you a Scottish nationalist. It makes you a democrat. You're supporting a democratic right that 260 other countries in the world take for granted, and that's what we want. So we're not looking for any favours, we're looking for our right, our inalienable right to make our own decisions. And that doesn't make me a Scottish nationalist. I'm no nationalist, I'm a socialist. I support independence in the same way that John Maclean, the leader of the Red Clydesiders, 100 years ago stood up and supported independence. He came to communities like yours. James Connolly from Edinburgh, a man who also came here, passionate advocate of independence for Scotland, executed by the British for his role in the rising in Dublin in 1916. Nobody who knows anything about John Maclean or James Connolly would ever describe them as nationalists, but they were passionate about independence. Because it was a democratic question. It was our right to determine our future and to reject the British Empire, to reject neoliberalism, to reject the exploitation of working class people by the rich, by the corporate elite. And that's what this debate's about. And I'm proud to say I'm passionate about independence, a lifelong trade unionist, a lifelong socialist, and there's no contradiction, none whatsoever, in supporting independence in that way. And I have to say one thing that we all should readily understand. Scotland is a nation. We're a country. So to the comrades south of the border who say, Scotland, you know, we hate the Tories as much as you do, we're from Liverpool. We hate the Tories as much as you do, we're from Newcastle. We're from East London. I lived in East London for 10 years. They hate the Tories just as much as anybody will does, I can guarantee you. But the difference is, East London isn't a country, it's not a nation. Neither is Merseyside, neither is the North East, neither is South Wales, neither is Yorkshire. We are. We're not a province of England, we're not a province of Britain either. We're not a region of anywhere. We're a country, we're a nation. And we're entitled as a nation to say the national question is a feature of politics in this country. We now have a Scottish Parliament, which is a reflection that we do things differently here. We're a nation entitled to express ourselves. And it's well worth reminding those people who would suggest that nothing has changed, that Holyrood and the no campaign central message you've heard, I'm sure, on television, they'll say, Colin, Scotland gets the best of both worlds. We have a strong Scottish Parliament and we have influence at Westminster that takes us onto the world stage. And as Lorna mentioned, Lorna and I worked in the Scottish Parliament for 4 years, and our daily experience was to be told, Colin, Lorna, well, you can't talk about unemployment here, or you can't talk about the economy here, you can't talk about Trident here, you can't talk about Iraq here, you can't talk about low pay here. That's for the big boys and girls down south. This is the Scottish Parliament. You don't get to talk about any of these things. That's a daily experience. I would do a surgery every Friday. People would come to see me as their elected representative for help. And everything they raised that could be mentioned in the Parliament. So we don't have a strong Scottish Parliament. That's what this debate's about. We don't have anywhere near the powers that we need as an independent country to take care of each other and to plot our own destiny. And it's also clear we don't have any influence at Westminster. If we had any influence at Westminster, we wouldn't get lumbered with a bedroom tax. We didn't want it, did we? We didn't want the Royal Mail being privatised, we got it. You know, we don't support any of the measures and we get lumbered with it. They don't take a blind bit of notice about us, we don't have any influence. What we do is we get lumbered with a government we didn't elect, a Tory philosophy we never elected, that's alien to us. And of course independence means that's over. That can never happen again. That's finished as of the 18th of September. And I campaigned daily, I was instilling the day outside the Thistle Centre. Vote for independence on the 18th of September. Sign the petition and send your own message to David Cameron that after the 18th of September there is no more David Cameron in Scotland. There is no more George Osborne. There is no more bedroom tax. There is no more scapegoating claimants and immigrants for problems, a crisis caused by the bankers in the City of London. Their days are over. And I think that's why this is a profound debate. And it's why I'm thoroughly encouraged there's 100 people or more come out tonight to debate it and discuss it. And I want to say this in finishing, Lorna, since my time's now up. I wanted to just focus on how this debate is going to go. Because the question that's most commonly asked of me is, are we going to win? And I'm here to tell you, yes we are. We are going to win a famous victory in the 18th of September. Yes, I'm aware that we're 5-6% behind in the polls. But I tell you, you can tell by turnouts at this meeting. You can tell that the gap is already closed by 5% in January. 2 weeks' time, the Labour conference has to meet and to decide what proposals they're going to put in front of you and the rest of the country about Devo Max. And the Labour Party is in a total horns of a dilemma. Because on the one hand, they want to offer sufficient powers to the don't know, the people who wanted Devo Max, to say, right, we'll give you these powers. So you don't have to vote yes. There'll be a substantial set of powers. So don't vote yes and keep Britain together. Knowing fine well that they can't get that through the Westminster Parliament. That's where that has to go. The Tories will not support it. Labour MPs south of the border will not support substantial new powers for Hollywood. So they then say, alright, tell you what we'll do, we'll just go for a wee set of diddy-wee powers. Income tax, welfare provision, Crown Estate, something like that. And they'll go at Westminster, fine, right, we'll support that. And all the voters in Scotland go, nah, that's not even near enough. As Gordon Brown was on the telly on Monday saying, look at Scotland, we raised 10% of the taxes we spend here the new. I propose we move that to 15%, what do you think? And of course under independence we got 100%. We got 100% of the money. 15, I'm thinking, 15 or 100, let's choose. Oh, make up my mind. People are going to go shove it where the sun doesn't shine. We're having the right to determine our own future. And the fact is, yes represents the progressive choice in this contest. The progressive choice is change along the lines I've outlined before you. And my feeling is, see a year from now, what's today's date? 14th of March. Here's my prediction. 14th of March next year, you don't find anybody who voted no. You don't find anybody who voted no. And it will remind you, I'm sure Wally remembers this, 1979 Thatcher wins in a landslide. 1981, couldn't find anybody who voted for her. Oh no, I voted for her. No, mass unemployment, that bitch. She closed the Regenscreen, closed Linwood, closed the Pittsburgh. No, I didn't vote for her. You couldn't find anybody that voted for her. And I remember saying, well, some bugger must have voted for her because she won the election. But the fact of the matter is, what's grown is a sense that, of course, this is the right thing to do. Of course, it's a progressive choice. What the union offers us is attacking our pensions, attacking our pay, attacking our public services, further wars abroad, further Trident, further neoliberalism, further money going to the banks and no going to Lahore. And of course people are increasingly going, do you know what? All that scaremongering, it's the law of diminishing returns. The more they threaten you, and they threaten you, and they threaten you, it has less and less of an impact, you know. It's like that first glass of vodka, lovely. Second one, not so much. Third one, fourth one. The point is, their scaremongering tactics are not working. And my view is that not only is Devo Max going to see a further closing in polls, you're also going to see in May, and this will affect the independence polls, if UKIP and Nigel Farage come top of the poll in England and mace MEPs like they seem to be they're going to, and they don't get a single one in Scotland, then people will conclude this isn't just two different countries, these are two different planets. He wants to scapegoat immigrants, blame poor folk who've made a brave and courageous decision for leaving their own country to come here for a better life, God love them. He wants to scapegoat them, and we don't entertain any of that. We know no communities in Scotland. My family, grandparents I told about, came here for the island, so did yours, for the Highlands, for other parts of the world. We welcome people who come here, because the fact is, economically, tragically, they make this country better by coming here, richer by coming here, and their own country poorer in the leaving. So we don't have anything to do with the filth, the poison that Nigel Farage and that represents. But if there's a picture of him with his big grin, I'm the king of the castle in England, and they get wiped out and they get nothing in Scotland, of course it reinforces the notion these are two different countries, two different attitudes, two different futures. So Labour's Devo Max proposals, UKIP's, you know, the impact of that, and the third thing which changes the polls is don't for a second underestimate yourself. The great mass movement, the great rank and file grassroots campaign that you're part of, and it's growing and growing and growing. The other side don't have anything like it, none whatsoever. So it's you that will change the vote forever. And promise yourself that on the 19th of September you wake up, a big yes vote achieved, and you say to yourself, I did that, I did that. I changed the world forever for myself and my wains. 3 cheers for us. Thank you.